Hey guys, Roman here. Just going to make a guide for the new indicator Messiah. We'll get stuck into it. Add it to your chart. Once it's on your chart, it'll be blank, as with all the other indicators. We do that just so you can set it up for yourself, instead of just being overloaded with all of these loaded. Alright, so we'll get into it. You got labels. You can turn that on. That's by itself. And what that is if you have, say, moving averages on, once they load, we'll see that it actually says which moving average it is beside it. Right. So it's saying 4 hour as in the 240, and then the 50 as in the EMA. Right, so it's a 4 hour 4 hour 50 moving average or 200 moving average. So that's what the labels are. Without that, you're not going to see the names of the indicators. Right, so depends on how you if you need a reminder, or if you work on color codes, you might not need it. It's just there to use if you want it or not. So by default, we have Bollinger Bands on here. It is a free indicator. We've just included it in it, just because when you've got a bunch of the Prophets.vip indicators on your tabs, you might not have the full paid account, the high tier one, which allows you to have additional indicators. So we've got a few free ones on here that you're able to play with. Next is the EMA Ribbon. This EMA ribbon here is the 10 and 20 EMA. And when price plays around with this, it allows you to trade the trend. So when you get a nice trending market, alright, so it's pushed above it and pull back into it. So you can get a nice bullish candle off this, maybe some kind of SFP on the lower time frame down here, or just whatever reason you want to get into it. This can work. It's a great way to stay in a trending market, and then risk off when you lose it if you like, and then risk back on once you've reobtained it. Works similar in the sense of Mooney and the rest of them. It's good for a trending market. They seem to be half decent. Alright, so you can make your own strategies around that. Next is a pi script top. This is based off a pi script using pi literally in moving average sense. And if we zoom out and have a look at the history of Bitcoin, right, it has a pretty good strike rate of calling the top. It didn't get this top here because there wasn't enough data at that time on the moving averages it requires, but I'm assuming it probably would have got that one as well. So it's pretty good at picking these tops, right? How that works, we'll go into it and just add the two moving averages that come with it. Right, so the pi EMA lines here. So what we can see is when these two lines cross, the signal is given, okay? So straight down from here, we can see that the teal line came up through the pink line. Alright, so every time that top was called, it's when these two lines cross. So we recently had one, right? But now we're very, very far away from this line here. So if we do trend back up here, it might be a while before we see that cross again. If and when it does come, it might not give you the exact top. This one missed it by about a day, maybe a day or two. And you may have sold here thinking, okay, the top was in, and then it pumped up, and then you'd be like, oh shit. So how you could trade that, or how you could approach that if we come to that next time, is if this pumps up and you sold here because the pi top came in, you could then maybe rebuy up here and see your stop loss below here. So maybe you give a couple of percent back, if you were to try and FOMO back in because of the ascending triangle here, right? If you looked at that in the market structure sense. So a bit of a UTAD, as soon as we lost that, you could risk back off again, or however you wanted to play that. But just a really strong heads up signal because of the strike rate of them, that it's time to pay attention when they are getting close. So when these start getting close to each other, right, you want to start making sure you've got a plan, an exit plan. Because when the blood starts, right, the market will shave your account 20-30% in a day. So just a heads up, great little tool. You can see the stats of it here if you want, and then muck around with it here. We'll move on from there. Next is just the moving averages. Okay, so this is CTF, means current time frame. So by default, you've got the main ones, which is 20, 50, 100, and 200. They're the most traditionally used ones. The 20 moving average is also the Bollinger Band middle line. So we'll just look at that. So see the Bollinger Band here, that's the top of it, that's the bottom of it, that's the center of it. So if we actually go and turn off the moving averages, you'll see here when it loads, alright, and now it's the red line. So Bollinger Band and the 20 EMA share that same line. So you've got two eyes looking at the one. That's why we've incorporated the 20 as a part of this as well. And then you can change the time frame for the multi-time frame, MTF, multi-time frame, by clicking this, and it'll show you multi-time frames as well. So you can have up to 8 EMAs on here, but these ones here are controlled by this, from which time frame you want to select from. And then you're able to also change the values here. Okay. Then you've also got smoothed EMAs or stepped, so these change it slightly. I think it's on the higher time frame. If we go to the 1 week, I think it smooths it out a wee bit. All right. Cool. And then we've got the see how it says like stepped here, or the smoothed. So because we're on a lower time frame, when smooth like this, you can see that it's here, right? But price is over here. It's because the week hasn't finished yet, so you've got to somewhat predict roughly where it is. But what we can see here at the moment is the 200 daily and the 50 EMA weekly are right here as support, which is interesting for where we are in the cycle of Bitcoin. So we'll just turn off the EMAs, rinse repeat again with the EMAs. I don't need to go through that, but the same thing applies. So you set it up how you wish. Then we've got the volume weighted moving average. I personally only use the 30, and by default it's set at 30. This thing I've back tested and forward tested a lot. For me, it keeps me in a healthy trend or out of a bad market, right? So as we can see, like here and then like here, it holds it, and when it finally loses it, it's a bit concerning. A decent pullback. All right, pulls back into it, pulls back, then again over here. So it's just another tool of confluence, right? It's just another tool of confluence, just like the EMA Ribbon. This one's just based off volume as well, so it can help you look at the market in a different manner than a normal moving average or an exponential moving average. This one's weighted by volume, so if volume kicks in, it'll move quicker. You can also see multi-time frame ones if you want to muck around with it, and then you have the smoothed and stepped as well, just like above. Okay, so you can find your own rhythm on the volume weighted moving averages. For me, I just prefer the 30. Cool. That's the average price, volume weighted average price, VWAP, right? And we can see that there's that green one through here. That's the 4 hour. Then we got the daily coming through. We jump up to a higher time frame. Here we go. So I personally don't trade with VWAPs. I'm not going to educate you on them, but if you want to learn about them, they are now a feature on here because some of you guys do use them. I think Hazer has added them by request. Then we've also got EMA and EMA Ribbon. Let's get rid of the volume weighted moving average. Here we go. I believe this fills in the gap between these. So you've actually got to have these selected to get that ribbon displaying. Right, and what it does is creates a literally the ribbon here between the between, let's say this is a 200 EMA, this is a 200 MA. It just fills in the gap between them. As you can see, it can help create trading ranges or areas of resistance. So it depends how you use them. Yeah, there's an option available. This is the daily golden cross and death cross. Now these are a bit of a meme, but it's just so you know that on the greatest grand scale, that traditional market viewers are looking at these as potentially shifting market. But if we zoom out and have a look, right, this one was good for buying, this one was good for selling, this was meant to be a buy and it was wrecked, right? This one was meant to be a sell and it was wrecked. So there's no real hit strike rate with these, but they're on there. You can get alerts for them. They get talked about by media outlets a lot. They get talked about by a lot of retail traders a lot whenever they come close. Okay, so they don't actually show the moving averages. It just shows you when they cross with a little icon there. Next up is Mooney. This is a custom indicator I made myself that we've added into this. It's based on that 30 volume weighted moving average we used earlier, plus I think 2 or 3 more moving averages. And when they do a certain combination, we get these upscale. But because it's based on volume, it tries to get you on a healthy trend. It was made for an up market, made for altcoins and Bitcoin. It seems to work not too bad for shorting as well when it goes red, in the same sense, but it was made for altcoins and Bitcoin in an upscale market. I think it works best on the 4 hour time frame or daily time frame. For me, this made me a lot of money on altcoins. So you can set alerts with Mooney as well. when it goes green, pay attention. Don't just randomly buy. Don't just go on market buy because it's gone green. But pay attention. Maybe find the setup when it goes green. As you can see here, it's gone green, had a pullback, right? It's gone green, went up, had a pullback. So it's not promised money. This is on the daily. The 4-hour could be a wee bit different. Alright, so here for instance, it's gone green, it's gone up, it's gone green, sideways, up, up, right? Again here, it's gone green, just keep pumping. So it's definitely worth paying attention to that. Keep in mind it's for a trending market as well. So if you're in a downtrend and it goes green, just be cautious. Right, if it goes from red to green, like just be cautious. It's usually after you'll see a strong move to the upside because it's also volume weighted. But if you get like a random green section while the trend is looking disgusting, you don't want to be just taking that because it went green, right? You want to be seeing the up movement, not the sideways or down movement. Mayo multiple, I don't use these personally, but you can apply them to the chart. Just delete my arrows. I think there's more to that. Leave those out, got tooltips. Next is the alerts. Alright, so that we were just talking about Mooney when it goes green, that's the alert for it. So you tick that if you want that to go green. You got pie alert when the pie top comes in. You can get an alert from that, make it easy for yourself. The golden cross and death cross if you want to be told about them. The 200 weekly moving average. Now this one here is very simple, but we'll just go and add a moving average to the chart on the weekly time frame. Value 200. Right. Whenever price comes to this with Bitcoin's history, right, it wicks under temporarily, but it's usually a nice bottom buy. Okay, so we've got an alert there for you, which allows you to be informed that it's hitting that. So if you're a macro time frame trader, or you're someone who forgets to check these kind of things, maybe in 2-3 years from now, we get a random alert going, hey, we're on a 200 weekly moving average, time to buy. You know, it's a great little handy tooltip. These are claim and loss alerts based on the moving averages, or volume weighted moving averages, or the volume weighted average price, right? So if they claim or reclaim it, right, and then you get to choose the EMA that you want to play with, right? This is number 1, this is number 2, sorry, that's 1, 2, 3, wait on, no, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. So they reflect of these values here, right? So that's why they're called 2, 3, 4, because you can actually change these values to whatever you want. After that, then you've got the Mayer colors here, right? These are the default moving average colors here, and then you can actually change them, your colors through here, of each of these tools. Alright, so with the new indicator suite updates we did, we had updates across the indicators. Messiah was some newer stuff, which is the volume weighted action price, some new alerts, some new of these claim loss alerts, and then we've compiled all the moving averages and moving average based strategies into a single indicator, which is Messiah. Okay, so I'll just upload this. It's pretty straightforward, Messiah, and I'll move on to the next guide.